mother of three vanishes. Days later, investigators review security footage and see something that sends chills down their spines. A man dragging a large object through the darkness. Then, deep inside a California forest, search teams make a horrifying discovery. This is the tragic case of Sheylla Cabrera. A mother of three disappears. Her family desperately searches for answers. Then investigators discover a chilling piece of surveillance footage. A man is seen dragging a large object wrapped in material through the darkness. Days later, a body is found deep inside a California forest. What began as a missing person case would quickly transform into a homicide investigation that captured national attention. This is the tragic story of Sheylla Cabrera. Sheylla Cabrera was 33 years old. She was a mother of three young boys. Friends and family described her as loving, hardworking, and deeply devoted to her children. She lived in Lancaster, California, and, like countless parents, much of her life revolved around providing for her family. To those who knew her, she wasn't a headline. She was a daughter, a mother, a friend, a person whose life mattered. On August 12, 2025, concern began to grow. Sheylla was reported missing. Family members and investigators immediately began trying to determine where she had gone. Missing person cases are often difficult. Sometimes people leave voluntarily. Sometimes they are found safe. But as detectives started looking deeper into Sheylla's disappearance, troubling signs began to emerge. During the investigation, detectives obtained surveillance footage from the apartment complex where Sheylla lived. What they saw immediately raised alarm. The footage allegedly showed her husband dragging a large object wrapped in material away from the apartment complex. Investigators quickly realized they might not be dealing with a simple missing person case. They began suspecting foul play. The investigation escalated rapidly, and homicide detectives were called in. Time was critical. Search teams were deployed. Detectives worked around the clock. Volunteers and rescue personnel searched large areas of the Angeles National Forest. Every hour mattered. Everyone hoped Sheylla would somehow be found alive. But the search was about to take a devastating turn. On August 16th, search and rescue teams made a heartbreaking discovery. Deep within the Angeles National Forest, they located human remains. Authorities later confirmed the victim was Sheylla Cabrera. Her body had been found down an embankment and wrapped in material. The discovery shocked the community. What loved ones had feared most had become reality. Investigators now had a homicide investigation. They began piecing together Sheylla's final known movements. Detectives examined surveillance footage, interviewed witnesses, reviewed digital evidence, and followed every possible lead. The case quickly gained attention across the country. People wanted answers. How had a young mother ended up dead in a remote forest? As investigators worked the case, another alarming discovery emerged. Sheylla's three children were also missing. Authorities learned they had been taken out of the country. An international search effort began. Concern for the children's safety grew by the hour.
Hold on, let's take a break and kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel. That is it good, we can now go ahead with the true crime stories.
Fortunately, authorities later located the children in Peru and placed them into protective custody. Investigators alleged that Sheylla's husband had fled the United States. Law enforcement agencies worked with international authorities as efforts began to locate and return him to face the investigation. The case had now crossed international borders. What started in a Lancaster apartment complex had become a multinational manhunt. News of the case devastated the Lancaster community. Vigils were held. Family members spoke publicly. Supporters gathered to honor Sheylla's memory. For many, this was no longer just another crime story. It was the story of a mother whose children would now grow up without her, and a family left searching for justice. Cases like this leave behind painful questions. Could warning signs have been recognized sooner? Could tragedy have been prevented? What were Sheylla's final moments like? While investigators continue seeking accountability through the legal process, the loss itself can never be undone. A life was taken, a family was shattered, and 3 children were left at the center of a tragedy they never chose. Sheylla Cabrera's story is more than a true crime case. It is a story about loss, about family, about a community refusing to forget. Today, those who loved her continue to honor her memory and seek justice. And while court proceedings and investigations may continue, one fact remains unchanged. A 33-year-old mother of 3 should have been able to return home safely. Instead, her story became a tragedy that touched people around the world. This was the heartbreaking story of Sheylla Cabrera. If you enjoyed this true crime story, don't forget to click on the subscription button